Ladies and gentlemen, chess has been around for over 1500 years. 1500 years. It's been around since the 6th century, okay? So there have been some incredibly famous games. More notably on this channel, me blundering my queen every other move, but we'll move on from that very swiftly. You look at the likes of Kasparov vs Karpov in 1985, I think it was like game 16 or something, widely regarded as one of the most famous games of all time. But do you know what is widely regarded as the most famous game of all time? Well, it involves an American known as Paul Morphy, okay? And this said American is arguably one of the most attacking players in chess history. You have the likes of Mikhail Tal, who is also up there for just sacrificing everything. But Paul Morphy is also up there. And he played a game in France, okay, in an opera house, against a German duke and a French nobleman. They were allowed to liaise about the moves they wanted to play. They had the black pieces. And Paul Morphy, the American grandmaster genius, whatever you want to call him, had the white pieces. So it's a 1-on-2, okay? And this is widely regarded as not only Paul Morphy's greatest ever chess game, but the most famous chess game of all time. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Today we're going to review it. If you do go on to enjoy this recap, smash that like button and subscribe. This is absolutely mind-blowing, guys. We're going to jump straight into this right now. No cuts, no cuts. Paul Morphy with the white pieces. Now, there's a number of things you can do, but we got to remember, back in these times, there weren't chess engines, okay? There were books on chess theory and what was notably regarded as the best moves, but they don't have chess engines, so it's never going to be perfect play, and that's what we have to remember watching this. Morphy starts with e4, okay? This you're all very familiar with, I'm assuming, and this is your first ever interaction with chess, which is just mind-blowing. Thank you for letting it be my channel. The noblemen respond with e5, sorry. So just both of them putting their pawns in the centre. We get knight f3, maybe looking to play some sort of Roy Lopez. I mean, just quickly, this is widely regarded now as the Morphy defence, with like bishop dropping back to a4, going here and here. This is known as the Morphy defence, but that's besides the point because this isn't even the position we reach. But that's just how famous this man Paul Morphy is. d6 is played, which is known as the Philidor defence. It's just ultra solid, okay? It's like, we're just going to defend, you're not going to break me down sort of thing. But Paul Morphy, being a very attacking chess player, lashes out with this move d4 off the bat, okay? Just instantly challenges the centre. It gets exciting already because Bobby Fischer, the other extremely famous American grandmaster, world champion as well, made a comment on this move bishop to g4 and said, the noblemen have already messed up. This is a weak move already. And Paul Morphy is currently +1 on the eval bar with perfect play. I mean, we're never going to get perfect play back in these times, but bishop g4, Bobby Fischer, not a fan. It's so cool that they can just comment on these moves. Best move here is actually knight c3, but there's also moves like bishop over to e3, or just taking this pawn, and Morphy does decide just to take the pawn. It's only given as a good move, but ignore Stockfish, okay, just ignore it. Bishop then takes the knight, queen takes back, pawn takes back, so material is currently completely equal. Eval bar, though, has it as about 1.5 up for white, which is just crazy, given that material's all equal. But the advantage comes from the move. Well, it doesn't come from this move, but this helps maintain the advantage. Bishop to c4, obviously clearly setting up some checkmating ideas early. Will the noblemen fall for this? No, but they do play a pretty horrific move in knight to f6. Now, it's not exactly clear if you're a beginner why this is such a bad move, but this move queen b3 does so much for white. You're threatening to take this pawn with check for 1, which is the immediate threat you can see lined up. But the queen, more notably, is threatening to take on b7. And you cannot defend both of these threats at the same time. This threat is absolutely monstrous, okay? Because not only do you take the pawn, but then you threaten to win the rook. So it's the noblemen need to be very careful here. They have to play perfectly now, because they're already down like +2 on the eval bar. So the queen goes to e7 to defend the f7 pawn. And Morphy doesn't decide to take the pawn on b7. He just decides to bring another piece into the game, developing, okay? It's so notable right now that Morphy has developed so many of his pieces, has prepared short castling. It's very clear where this bishop wants to go. Whereas Black is, really lacking in development, and it's not going to be easy to get castled, get the king to safety. So already, after only 8 moves, Black is clearly losing this game. c6 is played. And then we get bishop to g5, pinning this knight. And it's like, man, what the hell do you even do if you're Black? Like, this queenside knight cannot move. Like, it's literally trapped there because of the fact that this pawn is hanging. And this bishop cannot come into the game because the queen blocks it. So it's like, what the hell do you do if you're Black? Well, the noblemen decide to play this move b5. And this is where the brilliancies start for Paul Morphy. In this position, if you're a player like me, of like a intermediate standard, you're okay at chess, I don't know, you'd probably just look to retreat your bishop. I mean, you might consider sacrificing, but you'd quickly rule it out because it's like you're giving up a full piece. Despite the fact that all the pieces are blocked in and the development's really bad, you just want to be ultra solid, okay? Paul Morphy says, no, I don't need my knight. I'm just going to kill off my knight. And it's given us an absolute chef's kiss brilliancy. This is where the brilliant moves start for Paul Morphy. I mean, the opening has been absolutely tremendous already. But this middle game gets crazy, people. It gets crazy. The pawn, of course, takes back, which is an inaccuracy. What do you want from the engine here? You just want a queen trade, I guess. I guess this is what you want as the engine. But then there's like the move knight c7, right? Which looks pretty scary. Why can't you just play this? Oh, because you're in check, of course you are, so you just go back. See, this is why I'm only an intermediate level player. But the noblemen don't offer the queen trade. They take the knight. They take the bait. And now Paul Morphy unleashes one of the most savage move sequences in the history of chess. Takes back with check. Knight blocks, okay? Knight blocking is very important. Let's say you were to just go here. Well, then you could just long castle with check, which is absolutely terrifying. So the knight blocks. Now Paul Morphy long castles, putting even more pressure on this knight, which is currently pinned by this light squared bishop. This knight is currently pinned by this dark squared bishop. It's very clear the rook's going to come into the game, the queen's going to advance further. Like, every one of Paul Morphy's pieces is doing something, and these noblemen that are allowed to talk to each other, to confer before playing their moves, have nothing. There's nothing in this position. They can't move. They are pinned in. Rook comes to d8 to defend this knight. Paul Morphy sacrifices his rook. This guy is a psychopath, okay? He's an absolute psychopath. He takes the knight. Rook takes back. Best move here is actually for the knight to take back, by the way, and for you to actually just give up your queen. But that's besides the point. They don't have stockfish. Sacrifices the rook. The rook comes over. Bear in mind, this rook cannot just take with check because this bishop is currently pinning it. Speaking of the bishop, no, never mind. Queen goes to e6. Bishop takes, okay? Bishop takes with check, threatening to win the queen. So, of course, the knight takes back, which is given as a huge mistake. A huge mistake. The only way for there to not be a forcing checkmate on the board is if you give up your queen again and get into this sort of position, which looks so unpleasant because your bishop and rook aren't even in the game yet. This knight could be pinned with a move like, well, I don't know, like queen b5. Obviously not the best move. The best move here is actually queen b7, just threatening this pawn, threatening the back rank. But my word, we don't get this line of giving up the queen. The knight takes back, and now this is the most famous checkmate in chess history, and I don't actually know if it's even that close, okay? Can you spot this checkmate? I mean, in this position, it looks like, okay, well, I could take this, I could take the knight, I could queen trade, and, you know, neither of Black's pieces are developed yet. Maybe I need to bring my bishop back somehow and reroute it over this way, maybe, and get it on these diagonals over here. I don't really know. What the hell is it? This is the most memorable checkmating combination in chess history, and it starts with the move queen to b8. What the hell is this? What is this? This is disgusting. Obviously, the king cannot move anywhere. It is blocked in. So the only way for black to survive is to take the queen. Paul Morphy just sacrificed his queen, and now it's mate in one. And if you can't see this mate in one, you've got to go and do some chess puzzles for me, okay? Rook d8 is checkmate. This is the most attacking game in chess history. And after bishop takes, this is arguably the most famous sequence of moves that has ever happened in chess. I mean, just look at that checkmate. The king cannot take the rook because the bishop defends. The king cannot move forwards because the bishop blocks this diagonal. King can't go here because of the rook. The queen can't take. There's nothing you can do. It is absolutely disgusting. This move, queen b8, is the most famous queen sacrifice in chess history. Paul Morphy, man, what a guy. What an absolute legend of the chess game. Wow. Guys, if you have any more games you'd like me to review, please comment them down below. I'm looking into doing Kasparov vs Karpov, the game 16 in 1985, I want to say. Arguably the most famous game, if not second to this one. But guys, like, comment, subscribe. Get out of here.